Good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Derek Beasley with the Maryland Weather Network with the latest on the significant heat wave that we're expecting towards the end of the week. Temperatures right now not too bad, but they will be getting worse later in the week, beginning Wednesday and lasting through the 4th of July weekend. Here's what you can expect right now across the region as we go throughout the evening hours and overnight. Temperatures gradually falling into the I'd say the 60s and 70s overnight. It's not going to really be that bad at all. A little bit more humid, but overall, it looks like we'll be dealing with tolerable conditions, especially compared to where we're going to end up here towards the end of the week, as we're going to be looking at temperatures and humidity spiking across the region in earnest. Now, let me show you what's going on right now. This is a look at water vapor and also a look at the wind flow at about 18,000 feet. The purple and blue blobs at the top are disturbances riding around a big high pressure ridge, which is right in the center part of the country. You can see right here over the mid-south. Notice how all the clouds are kind of going around in a clockwise fashion. That's the upper level ridge. Now here in Maryland, we're on the outer edge of that, but we're going to start to see this ridge build to the north and east over the next several days. And that's what's going to give us a pretty decent chance for our temperatures to really start cranking up here across our region as we get towards Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. So let's take a look at the temperatures. Right now, we're in the mid 80s. Over time, we're going to likely see these temperatures crank up even more. So I'm going to put one of our forecast models on here so you can kind of see. We're going to go with the American model on this one. And let's put this into motion here. We're going to go tomorrow afternoon. So we get a little bit warmer. We'll be near 90. Then as we go into Wednesday, that's when these temperatures are really going to start cranking up. We're talking about mid to upper 90s to around 100 degrees. That may be our first day that we see 100-degree heat across the region. Definitely Thursday into Friday. And look at these temperatures here. These are the actual temperatures expected. And we're looking at highs 100 to 105 degrees across many locations. And if you don't reach 100, you're going to be in the upper 90s. Very tough time of it. Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland, central parts of the states, even out towards Allegheny and Garrett County, we're looking at highs in the upper 90s to near 100 degrees, particularly for eastern Garrett County. Then coming up on Friday afternoon, once again, upper 90s, low 100s across the area over to the eastern shore. Now, keep in mind, this is going to extend all the way up into New England. We're looking at a very large swath of the eastern U.S. that's going to be dealing with temperatures like this. 4th of July, during the afternoon, the heat does start to back off a little bit. And I think what the GFS is doing here is trying to get some thunderstorms in the mix so it's not cranking up the temperatures as high. But you get the idea. The temperatures are going to stay hot through at least the first part of the 4th of July weekend, even really into Sunday before the temperatures do start to back off here into early next week. Let's take a quick look at heat index values. And we'll go back to Wednesday. And you can see there, we're talking about heat index values generally around 100 to 105 degrees, maybe some spots a little bit warmer than that. Then getting into Thursday, we're looking at heat index values 100 to 110 degrees. Friday, 105 to 110, maybe even some spots over 110. Friday afternoon, this is temperatures around 100 with heat index values getting over to around 110 to maybe even up to 112 in some areas. Then let's go into the 4th of July afternoon. Not quite as bad, but still bad enough. Heat index values upper 90s to around 100 to the low 100s across the area. And then Sunday, we still have heat index values that are going to be fairly hot. Now, another thing I'm going to be watching is the chance that we could see some showers and storms. Now, this is the European model. We'll go back to Wednesday. And it looks like right now that the chances for rain are going to be very small over the next few days. It's a little aggressive here with the rain here, but I'm not expecting that. It looks like we should stay mainly dry. One thing I am going to be watching, though, is the possibility of thunderstorm complexes. They're going to try to ride around the edge of the ridge. And sometimes you can get this in this kind of pattern, especially if the ridge doesn't build as strong as what you're expecting. You get sometimes these storm complexes that'll ride around the edge of it, kind of like what I showed you on water vapor earlier. But there is that chance that we could get some thunderstorms rounding the edge of the ridge, and I think that the best chance of that happening would be on the 4th of July. We would get some limited relief from that if that were to occur, but right now the chances of that happening really from now through Friday is going to be fairly low, although I will be watching that threat carefully here over the next few days. All right, here's a look at what to expect as far as the historical perspective from this. And notice that the upper level ridge is going to be one of the strongest that we've seen in the wild. The strongest that we've seen is a plus 139. That's 139 meters higher than what we typically see. That's in the 99th percentile. And we're going to see this ridge here really in the next several days getting close to that strength. So it gives you some idea of the 500 millibar heights. If you're familiar with that, if you're a meteorology geek, that's the strength of the upper level ridge. This one's going to be second place, the way it's forecast, as far as how strong it's going to be. And that's pretty significant. That's going to put us up there with some of the more significant heat waves that we've seen in the mid-Atlantic. Temps tonight, 60s and 70s, highs right around 90 here during the afternoon on Tuesday. So we're going to gradually get warmer, but look at these numbers. Now, I do think Friday may be a bit inflated, but if we get to 105, you weren't going to be able to tell between 105 and 108, but it gives you an idea of the kind of heat that we're talking about here. 100 to 105 is going to be pretty common, especially Thursday and Friday, maybe even lasting into the weekend. Overnight lows staying in the 80s. That's going to create a significant heat stress for many of the urban locations across the region. That's one of the problems with a prolonged heat wave. If you can't cool off enough at night, it doesn't give your body enough chance to recover, so you end up being more susceptible to heat exhaustion. That was kind of a long-winded explanation of what to expect over the next few days. Really, the big story thing you need to take away from this is dangerous heat, especially Wednesday through Saturday. Storm chances possible Friday, 4th of July. Some of those could be severe given the heat and humidity. That will provide some limited relief from the heat. The big story, though, will be the potential of challenging all-time record highs across the mid-Atlantic with a significant heat wave as we get towards the end of the week. I'm meteorologist Derek Beasley. That's your latest forecast. Of course, if there are any other updates, I'll give you the latest. And be sure to get the latest weather information for the state of Maryland on mdweathernetwork.com. Have a good one.